Okay, what I want to talk about today is the athlete's ability to distribute weight well through the foot and distribute those forces well through the floor up into the body in order to utilize the gluteal muscles effectively. Now, very often when we're doing our return to play protocols and we've got all our rehab assigned, very often the joker in the pack will be how the athlete is lifting in the gym. Okay, so you can do all your rehab with great technique and then you see them in the gym and they're lifting in a way that's not very productive to helping that athlete get back on the field, but most importantly staying on the field or whatever sporting event they're doing. And very often what we're going to see with a lot of athletes doing an RDL, for instance, okay, so the RDL movement is a great movement that we can use in the rehabilitation setting, but also in order to try help prevent these problems again by helping the athlete take up all the slack in the hamstring tissues in order to recruit those motor units. Now, ideally what we're looking for with an RDL, as that bar comes down, okay, is my weight's going to shift back towards my heels. Now, when my weight shifts back towards my heels here, okay, that's going to allow me to get a bit better hip flexion, okay? So that hip flexion now is taking up the slack proximally. Okay, and then you can see there's a slight knee extension. Okay, so then distally I'm taking up all the slack in the tissues also. Okay, so that's going to allow me now to distribute force well on the way back up through the movement. Okay, so the weight comes back on the heels and then it comes through the midfoot onto the forefoot as I come back up again. I know a lot of athletes, and there's a lot of S&C coaches these days cueing athletes to stay on their heels throughout. Now there's a problem if we stay on our heels on the way back up again. Okay, so as we come through, okay, if I stay on my heels now, what's going to happen is I'm going to find it very, very hard to use my proximal glute muscles. Okay, so in gait, as we hip extend, we're going to use the forefoot, okay? Whereas what we're telling athletes now by staying on the heels, okay, is to squeeze the glutes at the top, okay? But what will result ultimately as a reaction, a natural reaction, is we'll get a compensatory lumbar extension, okay? So if I'm pushing my hips forward, okay, the natural reaction for the rest of my body, my shoulders, is to come backwards. Okay, so that's very, very important. Whereas if I keep my weight distributed well from the heels and then come forward onto the forefoot, my gluteal muscles now are going to have the ideal position to generate tension through the floor and actually contribute to the movement. Okay, so a lot of athletes, they'll stay on the heels and they'll just work this kind of range here. Whereas if I allow myself to actually distribute my force well through the midfoot onto the forefoot at the top of the lift, you'll feel a big difference. You'll be able to activate the top of the gluteals without having to squeeze the muscles. Okay, that's very, very important. In the next video, I'm going to show you another big mistake that tends to happen with this lift, okay? But what I would say is I've just covered an RDL here, and this is happening all the time with the majority of lower limb lifts. So we need to rectify this. And the nice thing about this is where the posterior knee stability course really comes into its own. Because as I come through here, I have to generate a lot of tension, okay, through the system, and I'm producing a lot of force through my forefoot. So that midfoot, okay, and forefoot are generating tension. The interaction between the hamstring and the gastroc is vital here, okay? So the ability to take up that muscle slack and use it is very, very important. And that's what we go into in a lot of detail in the posterior stability protocol course. It's a step before we get the athlete into the gym. So when they get to this point, they're going to do it subconsciously because they're going to have confidence in the ability to move through the full foot. We've given them back their movement variability. They have stability and they're able to distribute force well from the knee so they don't have to go rigid. Okay, so if you want to check out that course now, I've put a link below the video. Feel free to check that out and I'll speak to you again soon.